When I got out of the military, I had a hard time translating my military experience into the civilian world. I'll be honest with you, if it wasn't for my wife, I probably would have been that homeless or impoverished vet. But it can be easier with the right support. I'm Mark Casper, and I'm the Executive Director of Tech4Troops. In today's world, you have to have a computer to be able to apply for jobs. Our mission is to empower veterans in need with computers and training to get back in the workforce.
Here at Tech4Troops, we're here to push you forward to get you back to where you want to be in life. When the veterans come in, I teach them everything you could think of that's done with a computer. I want them to feel that this is a tool that's going to help them get their life back.
I went into a kind of a deep depression. Eventually, I lost my job and I was out on the street. The computer was able to connect me to the web, and I was able to start putting resumes out. And you have to have these small building blocks to get from point A to point B. I'm not worried about employment anymore.
The need is great, and we want to be able to support our veterans across the nation.
All right, welcome everyone to the IWM broadcast of the Tech4Troops Cup Series, and tonight we are at Indianapolis for the Indy 200 here. This is Rick Souza, joined in the booth by my co-broadcaster John DeRudris, and thank you for joining us here on Wednesday night.
Rick, we are back. We're back at the quote-unquote oval, really more like a rectangle here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for this lovely 80-lap event here tonight in the Tech4Troops Cup Series. It's going to be really fun to watch. These cars typically don't go here, but, you know, NASCAR brought it back. So we are back at the oval here at Indianapolis. And right now, there's a lot of drivers who are trying to relearn this track. Because this track, you know, it's not easy, especially in these cars. You know, we look at a place like Pocono where Turn 2 is modeled after the turns here in Indianapolis. You know, some drivers have some issues with those corners, and when you have 4 of those in a lap, it's hard to get the rhythm going. So I'm very curious to see how these drivers are going to adapt with this new track this season. But Rick, we're round 4 in the playoffs of 7, race 1 of round 2.
Yep, and we've got 10 drivers all competing for those 4 coveted spots for our Homestead finale here of Season 4. Let's bring up that information, and let's cover those playoff drivers. So right now,
Absolutely.
Go ahead. We got you see that cut line? That red line is there, just picking the top 4 drivers arbitrarily, but right now that's where they sit points-wise. Worrell, Peters, Van Scoik, and Harper right now, with just coming off of our last round, are sitting right there. And those on the outside looking in, Johnston, Bostic, Ward, Slagter, Nairn, and Sturgill are hoping to get in that top 4.
Yeah, for sure. And, and the field is separated by 9 points. So this is anybody's game. Anybody's game. You look at Nathan Harper there and Garrett Johnston, Ty Bostic, all at the cut line. 5 points separates 4th to 10th. So that could be 4 spots on the track. So I expect tonight the playoffs to be completely shaken up. And you never know, maybe a Mike Sladker or a Zach Ward could get a win and bump himself into that first position. Because if we get 3 separate winners, you know what that means. 3 out of the top 4 spots are going to be determined by wins, the last spot by points. So it'll be fun. But Rick, we got about 2 minutes left of qualifying here at the Brickyard.
Well, let's cover, John, your keys to tonight's event.
Absolutely. So looking at this track, we have not been here in a while. So you have to take this track and be very careful with a couple things. The first thing I think you have to have at this track to win is track position. We've seen these races here get very strung out, and on a long run, you can gain positions, but I think you have to be up there in the front to get it done here tonight at Indianapolis. The second thing is aero push. I'm very worried about how these cars are going to handle out of the corners. I think specifically out of turn 1, specifically out of turn 2, 3, and 4, you're going to see cars get very, very tight when they are tucked behind the car in front of them, especially even on corner entry. They're going to push pretty heavy if you don't back up your corner just a little bit from the guy in front of you. So aero push is going to be big, as well as right side tires here. I think right sides, you are going to see them burnt up, especially with some of the guys that are back in the pack. But being out front, you don't have to worry about track position. You don't have to worry about aero push, and you can kind of manage your tires. So those are my 3 keys for tonight's race in Indianapolis, as we have just about 30 seconds left of qualifying. At the top of the board, none other than Chris Worrell. Excuse me, Garrett Johnston, top of the board. Now, looking at this race tonight, 80 laps, pit road speed of 55 miles an hour. There are no quick repairs. 5 sets of tires. I was about to say 5 sets of fuel. 50% fuel, 3 green, white checkers, but a very, very, very hot track, almost 50 degrees hotter than the air temp. So very interesting race here today on this 2.5 miles. So I expect fuel to be somewhere around 21 to 23 laps, I would imagine. And so that's going to mean that these drivers are going to have to pit at least 3 times.
All right, so qualifying has wrapped up just in time, and that should put us the next moment or two. We'll start getting you that order. Just a second, and we will bring that up. Here we go. We have the grid.
All right, there we go. Garrett Johnston on the pole for round 2, race 4. Of the total playoffs, but race 1 of round 2, with Chris Worrell in 2nd, Ty Bostic in 3rd, Jeff Nairn in 4th, Lilith Peters in 5th, Chuck Van Scoik in 6th, Chad Jones in 7th, Mike Sladker in 8th, Cody Sturgill in 9th, and Ryan Pittman in 10th.
In 11th, you've got James Lowe. In 12th, Sammy Harrell. In 13th, Luke Bullard. 14th, Zach Ward is outside. John Ledger in 15th. Justin Horton in 16th. Philip Vandertwick in 17th. And Nathan Harper in 18th. In 19th, Aaron Jackson. And 20th, Maurice Burnett.
In 21st, you have Jeff Nanine, Marco Berube starting in 22nd, David Watts in 23rd, Ryan McRoberts in 24th, and Ryan D. Cook in 25th.
All right, that is our starting grid. 25 drivers have entered, and we're waiting for the field to populate. Not every driver has made it to their car yet. Probably taking a slight break, especially after qualifying. We're still waiting for those. In fact, we're waiting for our front row. They have yet to make it to the starting grid.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, there's Garrett Johnson. He's made it. Waiting on Mr. Chris Worrell and a couple others. So a couple of things. If you do see, these are basically housekeeping items. If you do see a blue outline around a driver's name, that typically indicates that that driver is in the playoffs. We've got 10 of that 25 who are actually in the playoffs, and we'll keep you apprised as to how they're doing, and you'll see that on the grid and on the tower.
Exactly. And, with this race tonight, I'm very curious to see how the track position game is going to be played with these drivers as we see the field start to take off. I'm very curious because, looking at this race, you could short pit your way to a win and, basically play your card right and be at the back of the field and manage your fuel to where you can come a lap earlier and on lap 20, lap 40, lap 60, and you can make it to the end if you can make it on 21 laps. So I'm very curious to see how this field is going to play out tonight, who's going to save, because at this track, I think you're going to see massive fuel saving once you get late in the run if you try to see some drivers who are trying to stretch it on fuel.
Well, and the other thing that will definitely be a factor is that the track is this is a 2.5 mile long track. There's 25 drivers, one green flag stop, and this field will be completely spread out. You will need all the help you can get to get back up to the front.
Exactly. And so, we'll see how these cars are acting. This is actually our first test. The Cup Series hasn't been here yet. I mean,
That's
we had some testing done. So we had, obviously, those cars were some of them loose, some of them tight. We had some Cup Series drivers wreck, but obviously that's the name of the game. So we'll see what this is going to be and what this race is going to bring here tonight. Maybe a surprise winner. I think that if any race is going to bring a surprise winner, I think this one could be it. Look at Zach Ward. He's been battling up there all season long. He would be up there in contention for that. All these drivers that are below the cut line, some of them we haven't even seen in victory lane yet. So excited to see what this race is going to bring. Excited to see what's going to happen here as the pace car is going to make a hard left-hand turn. Kind of abrupt right there.
It did. Sharp.
Very sharp. He must have forgotten. Must have been texting. But Geico Restart Zone, they have entered in green flag in the air for the Tech4Troops Indy 200. The field makes their way down into the famous Turn 1 of Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Crossing my fingers here that these guys understand they have to back up these corners a bit or they're going to wind up into that safer barrier.
Yep, and you can run too wide, and we're going to see that here coming out of Turn 2. You see the leaders side by side now, and the long straightaways, some of the longest in the Cup Series. Actually, I think it is the longest straightaway in the Cup Series here, now that they brought it back. And you see some drafting already happening mid-pack and side by side for second place.
Garrett Johnson has moved out and is right there by himself out front. He's got Chris.
Oh, we're wrecking in the back. John Ledger in the wall out of Turn 3.
Well, we've
no
stayed,
caution.
No caution. We've stayed green. I figured that would be the case here. He didn't stop. These single car incidents are going to wind up, pretty much stringing you out.
And here we go. We got a pass to the lead. Here comes Chris Rell on the inside of the 20 machine of Garrett Johnston as they now battle down into Turn 2. See some 3-wide action going on at the entrance of Turn 2. I think they sorted that out as the field now races down the back stretch. Chris Rell in first, Garrett Johnston in second, Jeff Nairn in third, Wolf Peters in fourth, Ty Bostic in fifth, Chuck Van Scoik in sixth. All playoff drivers there in the top 6. Chad Jones, Cody Sturgill, Mike Slapker, and James Lowe rounds out your top 10.
All right, field is beginning to basically break down to single file here. This is a track where drafting does play a factor, and if you're just running side by side, you will find yourself trailing back.
For sure. It's a track where you do not want to be side by side for too long, and you want to, the way that I like to approach this track is, there's some braking zone differences right there you can see between the 20 and the 27. But with the way I like to approach this, if I want to make a pass in Turn 1, I need to start, or going into Turn 1, I need to start making that move, basically coming out of Turn 2. I know it sounds wild, but you need to carry so much momentum to be able to do that. You almost have to start a full lap earlier.
Field is breaking apart into a couple different packs. That lead pack is out front and running back, and then you've got a number of drivers who are in these a little farther back, almost 7 seconds off. Aaron Jackson is back here leading this group of drivers. This is Ryan Cook, Jeff Nadee, Maurice Burnett, Ryan McRoberts, Marco Berube, Dave Watts, and unfortunately John Ledger, who had that incident, wound up currently at the back of this pack. So they are definitely trailing the field by nearly a turn and a half. I think that was Cody Sturgill that we saw kind of out of not being in line there, and so was looking forward to see what he could do. And unfortunately, I think by tucking his nose out like that, he wound up slipping back maybe a whole position.
Yep, and here comes the pass, I believe, right there. I think. Oh no, he's tucked back behind.
Well, the 07 went around him and moved up.
Yep. We actually have side by side now going into turn 1. Lilith right there, and I believe that is Ty Bostic on her inside.
Yep, Ty's rocking a Tech4Troops Cup Series paint scheme tonight. I think if they played back the broadcast from last week, they may have realized there was a lot of cash being put out by our sponsor for some of these custom paints.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Still watching this battle with Ty Bostic and Lilith Peters. This is one of those tracks where smooth is fast. But go ahead, John.
Correct. I was going to say, I'm very curious. Oh, we're wrecking. Oh, Ty Bostic is sideways. Oh, he saved it, but that's going to stack up the whole field out of turn 1. I was going to say, I'm very curious to see how these drivers are going to manage the tires. And on cue, we saw how loose these cars can get. So
let's go back and see if we can bring up that replay.
I think
behind the 22.
There
was contact.
Tight. Yeah, I think he got tight right there off a corner entry, or into the corner rather, which is very, very common here, especially when you're side by side.
This is from inside the car.
Yeah, you can see him push.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see him push. I mean, the front just pushed like a dump truck. But he settles back there in 8th position, -5. And let's talk about really quick who's gained or lost the most positions. Right now, Brian D. Cook up 7 spots from his original starting place. He is the biggest mover. The biggest loser, unfortunately, is Ty Bostic. Or excuse me, John Ledger, -9. John Ledger, -9 spots for this race. But what I was going to say was I'm very curious how these tires are going to play out here as this race unfolds and what the lap times are going to look like. Right now, they are running about 3 to 5 tenths off their fastest laps, depending on where you are in the field. So I'm very curious to see how that goes out just 7 laps into this race.
All right, 7 laps in. About to make it 8 as we cross the stripe here. Your leader, Chris Worrell, Garrett Johnson in 2nd, Jeff Nairn, MB2 Motorsports currently showing in 3rd. But around this time, John, I think maybe around lap 10, we're going to see some heat and wear affecting how well these guys are able to, these drivers are able to take it through these corners.
Exactly. The tires are now up to stuff.
Pass
and
for the
you know,
lead.
if you're there we go, pass for the lead. There goes the 20 right back around Chris Worrell. And you know, right now, looking at this race, this track is 2.5 miles. And if you multiply on a typical track, you have about lap 12 to 15 is when the tires start to change over. So roughly 1.5 times a lovely 15 is 22.5 miles. Right now we are at lap 9. If you multiply that by 2.5, we are 22.5. So right now is where we're going to start to see some of these tires start to fall off, and who's going to start making their way forward, who's going to start making their way backwards. And right now, driver who's moving forward is the 20 of Garrett Johnston there. Actually just ran his fastest lap of the race last lap. So he is potentially saving something, but still running very solid lap times 10% into this race.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think you're exactly correct. As much as we talk about wear, it's also heat. And as these drivers, especially going into these corners, they're hugging that white line at the low side of the corner. That will just impart a lot of heat in that right side, and you're going to get a lot of buildup, and that will affect how well that tire can stick. Add into that the fact that we've got a very hot temperature. Let's bring up that weather bug one more time. Our current track temperature is showing at 123 degrees. That is definitely even hotter than at qualifying. So that's a factor as well. So that's why we're beginning to see this field begin to spread out. So from the leader to the driver, the last driver in is Jeff Nani in 25th. There's nearly 20 seconds separating first to last.
Wow.
At lap 10.
Yeah, big discrepancy there, and that's what we're used to seeing here at Indianapolis. So here comes what looked like was going to be a pass. For the lead there, maybe not.
Good angle there as you watch these drivers slide out of turn 2. If you watched Indy this year, you can see that is a very challenging corner. You've made it through 1, but you still may have more speed as you carry through 2. That retaining wall on that backstretch will come up and bite you.
It will, and it'll bite the best drivers when you're not even, expecting it. You may see some drivers who get so much air push. If you see a pass to the lead happening right now, down to the turn 1, here comes the 06 to the inside of the 20. Is that 06 going to get tight out of corner exit? He does a little bit, pushes up just a tad. You can see him try to correct it here. This is what's going to tell how these cars are handling, how that 06 is going to handle off the corner. Here we go. 06 drifts up. Now it's going to be a drag race. 06 still there, going to get a side draft down the back stretch.
Yeah, I think the 06 took advantage of an earlier slip by the 20. He had gotten a little loose last lap. 27 of Jeff Nairn trying to take advantage. But he tucks in behind the 20. I think you've got to save some stuff for that next attempt. You can't just let it all hang out.
I 100% agree. I think you have to pace yourself a little bit. But right now, 13 laps into this race, the 06 out front.
Lap 13 in, so we were talking, John, lap 20, lap 21, you think?
Yeah, I'm thinking somewhere lap 20 and 21, yes.
All right, there's a little bit of a gap. This lead pack is beginning to separate themselves out as we make our way around this amazing track. Full grandstands here for this event with Tech4Troops.
As they should be.
Looks like the 01 has, you see Lilith Peters has made her way around. Jeff Nairn is now solidly in third place, but I think that the 06 is doing his best to avoid allowing the 20 to get a run.
Absolutely. That's what we see a lot of times in Indy car specifically. It was something that we see a lot of times when drivers are car's a little loose. Drivers trying to break the draft, and we might see that at the end of the race. Cars weaving all over the place. Don't be surprised if you're like, what in the world is he doing? Yeah, he's just trying to break the draft. That's all he's trying to do. So right now,
of Ryan Cook off track and back on. take a quick look at that. Oh, damage with the 46. So the 46 of Brian Cook has now made his way onto pit road, trying to get some repairs made. I think that you're going to see that coming up over the next lap or so. Drivers who may have an ill handling car that need to make an adjustment, we may see them choose to pit early to try and get that taken care of before the bleed becomes a gusher.
Exactly.
So the top three cars of Worrell, Johnson, and Peters have kind of separated themselves a bit from the next group, but the field in total has got a 26-second lead over currently the last place driver on the track. That's the 54 of David Watts.
And I'm very curious right now to see if anybody does take that short pitch strategy and seeing how far these guys can go. I mean, we have 16 laps on these tires and on this fuel about to be 17. Who's going to make that dive to the pit road, to the pits first? I think with the way that this race can go, you know, a caution can come out at any moment. I think short pitting could be a great strategy because we have fallen off almost a full second. Lilith in the wall.
Lilith tags that wall. I think, again, we're definitely seeing some significant tire fall off. Just looking at the lap times. Lap times aren't as significant, about 3/4 of a second fall off, but really it's, in fact, we can go on board with Garrett Johnson. We can kind of see how he's managing. Oh, that's because your leader, Chris Worrell, has now made his way into the pits.
There it is. There's the short pit, basically on lap 17 coming to 18. So I'm going to say 18 laps right there. So very interesting.
You got both Chris Worrell and Jeff Nairn choosing to go down pit road that time by.
Yeah, I think Jeff saw that and was like, you know, I'm going to do the same thing. So I think that is a good move. I mean, he is not too far behind Chris, though. I think it could be a very advantageous move for that driver to do that. Looks like Jeff Nini also on pit road. We'll see who else makes their way down.
So you're seeing one couple things you are seeing if you're watching our current coverage in car. You're seeing and now here comes your leader on pit road. You're seeing that they're shifting in the corners, and you're seeing they're having a counter steer to get out because the car's loose.
Yep.
And a good bit of the field is making their way down onto pit road.
Yes, they are.
If you're trying to check out the status on the tower that's actually on the track, I don't believe they're updating it for this race.
Ah, man. If only. If only. So right now, I'm going to watch Chris Worrell. Chris Worrell, excuse me, is coming out of turn 4 right now. He has just passed the start-finish line now. And here comes the 20 out of pit road. This will be a race. You see the 06 enter the frame right there. Here comes the 06. It's going to be the battle for the lead. Now, the 20 needs to make sure he doesn't push it too hard and get in the grass. But looks like the 06 is going to take the lead. So that little short pitch strategy worked.
It did. Fresh tires. All right, the balance of the field right now, making their way down onto pit road. That's Peters, Van Scoik, Harrell, Ward, Jackson, Berube, Ryan McRoberts, all on pit road. And we'll watch your leader, Chris Worrell. All right, while this is underway, we'll take a quick commercial break. You won't miss anything. We will go side by side. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Jack Raymondson. I manage business development here at Tech4Troops, and I'm my second year with this amazing veteran nonprofit owned and operated by veterans for veterans. I served in the U.S. Marine Corps as an amphibious assault crewman from 1992 to 1996. I also served in the U.S. Coast Guard from 2002 to 2007, joining after 9/11 as an operations specialist, then serving as an instructor of Coast Guard Training Center, Yorktown. I also spent many years as a first responder volunteering as an EMT and fireman. I'm here at Tech4Troops because I believe in our mission to empower veterans and their families with the gift of computers and technology training, as well as our outreach to help curb veteran suicide while providing a safe and meaningful community where veterans are treated with respect and dignity. We are aiming for zero veteran suicide through gaming and other program opportunities. We help veterans regain a new sense of purpose and help them see they have a brighter future ahead of them. It truly is an honor and my pleasure to serve my fellow veterans and help give them a leg up. 2024 is Tech4Troops' 10th anniversary year, and I ask that you help us support our veterans and their families with a computer donation and or greatly needed financial contribution so we can help every last veteran in need. Together, you and Tech4Troops can be change makers. Thank you.
All right, welcome back to the IWM broadcast of the Tech4Troops Cup Series here at Indianapolis. We are watching Chris Worrell after our first green flag round of pit stops, and he has got a little bit of gap over second place Garrett Johnston, Charles Van Scoik, James Lowe, and Jeff Narron.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you guys doing tonight here at the IWM Broadcast Network?
We're doing great. Jason, welcome to the booth. Good to hear from you.
Always a pleasure to be here, and as always, I only come bearing good to great news. So, first of all, I just wanted to talk about the guys, the paint schemes, the drivers. I shouldn't say guys. We are equal opportunity here. The paint schemes we've been seeing have just been knocking my socks off. And we are really stepping up the amount of money that we are awarding as far as sweet Uncle Jeffrey loot. That being said, we are awarding so much of that, I feel that it's not in the entire league's best interest if the decision is solely up to me. So now that we are stepping up our prizes for the paint schemes even more as we step into, and I know you guys have been looking forward to this for over a month now. June 22nd and 23rd is ImmerseCon here in Richmond, Virginia. If you are nearby, love to see you there. If you can tune in, we're going to be doing a lot of coverage from the Tech4Troops Twitch channel and our Discord. Please follow and join as soon as you can. So that being said, our paint scheme winner is going to be up to committee, not just to me. So in addition to running the scheme on race night, I'm also going to need a single high-res picture posted in the Tech4Troops Discord room. If anybody needs any help with that, I'm available. Just message me directly. I lurk in the IWM Discord, but even as these guys are going through the schemes tonight, I've seen 4 that I would easily crown the winners. Unfortunately, I'd be bankrupt so quickly, and we are trying to extend our reach to veterans that are having mental health issues and don't know about the power of this community and fellow gamers and what we're doing here. So in the name of trying to extend that reach, I'm asking you guys to join me We're just expanding the scheme skirmish a bit. So in addition to running it, night of the race, one high-res picture in the Tech4Troops channel on the IWM Discord, and then you will absolutely be considered. But it's not solely up to me anymore. That's the good news. And no longer will shiny things distract me and only me. And as far as ImmerseCon goes, I'm looking forward to seeing all of you there. And if you can't, please check in on the Discord. Maybe tune in through Twitch. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it is for a good cause.
All right, so you heard that, drivers. You can post a picture of your paint scheme to the Discord for this week's event. That will be considered by the Tech4Troops committee, and you may have some money coming your way.
Absolutely. So it looks like we also have some news. Justin Horton speeding, as well as Marco Berube. So not what Justin Horton needed for his playoff run here at Indianapolis. Hate to see it.
Yep, absolutely. That speeding penalty will absolutely put you a lap down.
So now he is hoping for a caution here 27 laps into this 80-lap race.
All right, so your leader right now still is Chris Worrell. He pitted last on lap 17. So looking around lap 34, if we stay consistent, we'll see him come back in. Maybe they can stretch it out a little bit more, a little bit less. We'll see.
What I've noticed, though, the last couple laps, Garrett Johnston has been the fastest car on track by far, and he is catching the 06 of Chris Worrell. Now, is Chris Worrell leaning back a little bit, saving his stuff? You know, I mean, we saw him get that jump. He knows hitting one lap earlier is going to get him a little bit of a lead, so it's been sustaining, but will it sustain forever?
Well, certainly drivers have their tracks, and I think that Garrett Johnston has certainly brought something to this track. He seems to understand how to run it, and then I don't say that lightly, because it sounds like it's just a big rectangle with these rounded corners. You should be able to figure it out, but it's not intuitive like that. You've really got to figure out how to back up your corners, and not every driver has that skill set, and most importantly, to be able to do it repetitively.
If only it was that easy, Rick. If only driving a race car was that easy.
Yep, it is not. And again, as we talked about and saw earlier, is as these tires wear, as these tires heat up, add into the mix the slip factor.
Exactly. And then that's where, we start to see some drivers making mistakes. And we start to see the tires really start to fall off. And once you get these tires heated up here, this is a very hard track to get them cooled down, just due to the load that your car is under in the corners. On the straights, you could cool them off a little bit, but if you push it too hard, it's going to be pretty difficult to get those things cooled down. So you don't want to overheat your tires.
So I just want to bring up a little fact. Right now, the drivers are coming up to the last car on the lead lap. That happens to be Ryan McRoberts. He is in the sights of the leaders. After that first round of green flag pit stops, there is absolutely, the field is spread out. Just looking at our telemetry, looks like Maurice Burnett may have crashed. Let's try to see if we can bring up that.
Yeah, something happened with him. He came down pit road. He got a black flag. It looks like he got a meatball flag. So let's go back and take a look back at Maurice. Oh, yeah, that thing is destroyed.
I have to back it up. I don't know exactly where that occurred.
It had to have been.
Hang on one second.
Had to have been turn 3, I would imagine.
This is John Ledger down low. John gets a little bit below that white line, which unsettles his car, but we're watching the 8 of Maurice Burnett here.
Everything was good so far. It hadn't happened yet. Had to have been on the next lap, I would imagine.
Well, if I could speed it up, we'd do that, but right now we're so far so good.
It's probably going to happen coming out of turn 4. My guess is he got a little loose out of turn 4. Next thing you know, he's in the wall.
He was a little bit loose there out of, I think that's 3.
All right, here we go. Let's see what happened at turn 4. He's pushing. There it is. Going to correct. Oh, I hope he doesn't hit the barriers. Oh.
There you go.
That'll do it. Hey, we have a pass for the lead, Rick.
Oh, hang on. Let's get back to live action here.
Side by side, down the longest backstretch in NASCAR. Here comes Garrett Johnston. Back to the lead, clears the 06 of Chris Rell. Move that 20 back up to P1.
Strong move by Garrett Johnston, getting around the 06 of Chris Rell. And now they're coming up on the last car on the lead lap, which is Jeff Neely. This field has really spread out, and Chris is saying, oh no, I can get around you.
Oh, he pushed up just a little bit off corner edge. Oh, a little tight.
This is lap 33, remember, so there is not a whole lot of time before that next round of pit stops will occur.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going off of just the doubling factor here, 34 is the lap for Mr. Chris Farrell. 36 is going to be the lap for Garrett Johnston. So we'll see what these guys can do.
Still a long race. We're not even at the halfway point here. So, these guys are battling up front for just to do it.
And now we're still back side by side. Here comes the 06 again to the inside of the 20.
James Lowe is running in third. Good move up by James. He's +8.
And 06 got around, but got a little loose.
Inside, right along with the 20 of Garrett Johnston here.
Yeah, he's probably saving a little bit of gas because he's been behind that 06 for a second now and didn't really gain anything. So pretty awesome to see him save a little bit there.
Oh, backed up.
Yep, there's a lap car of Jeff Nini on the outside, tags the wall. This is going to be a good thing for the 06 because the 20 had to have a little bit of a lower corner entry, which means the 06 should have better corner exit, but the 20 really throttled it hard off the corner. Might have a run here coming down the back. Nope, still keeps it manageable.
All right, lap 35 in the books.
Looks like I think the 06 just came across the radio and said he is pitting. Let's see if that is true. Yep, here he comes. 06 down pit road on lap 35 coming to 36.
He is by himself so far. No other takers. Oh, a couple more. Luke Bullard and Jeff Nairn have both come in with him. James Lowe is there. Chuck Van Scoik is sitting in third. At 23 Goat Racing Ford.
Ty Bostic in fourth. Sammy Harrell up 7 to fifth now. As we see who else is going to make their way down pit road here, because the window has opened.
Your leader, Garrett Johnson, gets on pit road, as well as James Lowe.
Yep, both of them on pit road, and we see the 08 of Ryan Pittman now coming down pit road, followed by Chad Jones.
As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, this league does not have quick repairs. You drive what you've got, and if you've wrecked it, you own it. So
yeah, and a track like this, you can't have anything wrong with your car. You gotta have it all working in the right ways. Any little bit of information or any little piece of your car that is just off is going to affect you heavily, especially aerodynamically, I think, as well.
all right, Garrett Johnson gets off of pit road. Good pit stop, 14.63. That is actually, looking back at Chris Worrell's pit stop, 14.98, so about 0.3 faster off of pit road than Chris Worrell. That will catch up as these drivers cycle through this round of pit stops.
It will.
So that round, Ty Bostic, who has not come in, Sammy Harrell, Lilith Peters, Zach Ward, all those folks have not made it down onto pit road. At this point, we have 4 drivers or so on pit road: Van Scoik, Slagter, Harper, Vandertwick. Jeff Nadie was on, but he's coming out. Watching these two teammates battle for the lead. Ty Bostic.
And here comes Ty.
Yep, as well as I think Sammy Harrell coming down onto pit road,
Yep.
which leaves Lilith Peters now in front with Zach Ward. And
You know, just get a playoff point, you know?
yeah, no, absolutely. Every point counts. All right, we are coming up to lap 40, and Zach Ward makes his way around Lilith Peters, taking over the lead. But I expect that we'll see these drivers on pit road. Here we go.
Yeah, here they come, and this is where I think this is going to get interesting with who's going to be ahead of 2. Right now, the battle is still on, though, by just a 10th between the 06 and the 20. That is for the lead, Rick. They are pretty much side by side. Oh, not quite, but they're close.
Oh, caution's out.
Oh, no.
Yep, caution's out for a crash with that Sammy Harrell, I think, was involved in. He is off the pace for sure. Let's see what happened. Not sure why caution came out there.
I'm not sure. It's kind of an odd place. He was off the track unless they consider that the racing surface due to pit exit. He was pretty sideways right there. I don't see any caution lights at that point, but
Interesting.
Huh.
All right. Well, caution's out because of an incident here on lap 40 by the 43 of Sammy Harrell.
yep. And what that's going to do, that's going to cycle, I think, should be Chris Worrell back up to the front.
Well, look, Lilith Peters Did she not stop? I show her still. I thought
Yeah,
I saw her come down.
It doesn't say that she stopped, but I thought she did. It's still saying 19 on my side.
So here she is coming down pit road. I think the caution comes out. Zach Ward went into the pits.
I think Lilith is actually out of gas. Somehow. Because Chris Farrell kept on pushing her into pit road. Oh, she just went through. She didn't even stop.
She didn't stop.
Well, that makes sense. Hey, sometimes it pays to stay out.
Yep, it sure does. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break while all of this is going on, and we will be right back.
Welcome to ImmerseCon, where the future of gaming and technology comes to life. At the cutting edge of innovation, ImmerseCon blends the realms of STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, with gaming. It's a pulsating hub where diverse minds, from casual gamers to industry mavens, converge in a dynamic, groundbreaking setting. ImmerseCon is dedicated to transcending the typical convention experience. Here, every moment is an adventure, every interaction an opportunity to learn, play, and innovate. Join us in this unique journey where the wonders of STEM fuse with gaming, creating an immersive, unforgettable experience for all.
All right, welcome back to the IWM broadcast of the Tech4Troops Cup Series here at Indianapolis. We are watching the Tech4Troops Indy 200. I'm Rick Souza here with my co-broadcaster John DeRugis. And John, we are under caution for a spin by Sammy Harrell, who spun exiting off of pit road. And we're curious as to why Lilith Peters is still in the pits for an extended pit stop. This is over a minute and a half.
Yeah, I don't really know. I'm confused myself. I wish I had more data, but I don't.
All right, now the way that caution came out, there were a number of drivers who had already pit and a number of drivers who had, just a handful, who had not pitted. But majority of the field then chose to come down. Now we do see a number of drivers going back in.
Just topping off on some fuel.
Yep. You see that often, especially if you're at the back of the pack and you're not going to gain much on the position side. You might as well make sure your tank is full.
And also, you get almost an extra lap. So.
Yep. Well, I think the pace speed is 55. Super slow for a 2.5 mile track, so you got plenty of time to top off.
Oh, you do. Plenty of time.
All right, so this is officially our first caution of the night at around the halfway point. So I'm pretty impressed so far.
Yeah, I mean, little midway intermission.
We'll take it. We thank you for tuning in to our IWM broadcast. We're here each week. Tomorrow we will be with the iNASCAR League that we broadcast on Thursday nights, and tomorrow night we will be in Iowa.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a fun race. The track is not going to be like it is in real life with the partial repave, but it'll still be at Iowa Speedway.
Yeah,
0.875 mile track.
Yeah, exactly. About this to mention, it's not it's a short track. It's a short track that's shaped like a D oval, so it makes for interesting night of racing.
It reminds me of Richmond,
Yeah. Yep.
It's almost a cookie cutter of Richmond, just a little bit longer, banking just a little different. But we're not at Richmond anymore. We're in Indianapolis here for the Indy 200. So we'll see how this restart is going to go. as the field is taking the green right now. Your leader, Mr. Zach Ward, Mike Slavker, and Ty Bostic lead them down into turn 1 in a field that is very much spread out.
So restarts are always the hairiest point on this race, especially when you've got the field kind of broken apart. We're looking back to see different battles happening on track, and there's a lot happening towards the back of the pack. Sammy Harrell trying to work his way around the 40 of Jeff Needy. See the 3 Luke Bullard. Oh, wrecking right there.
Oh, we're wrecking.
That was
Tiffany.
Sammy Harrell spinning. He brings out the second caution. But I don't think this was his doing. That was the first caution.
That was number 1. On to
Now,
Act 2.
Act 2.
Oh, the 40 he was trying to avoid.
Yeah, avoid the
54.
54, unfortunately, and there's contact with the 43, sending him in the wall.
He'll be done.
Yep, a lot of damage there to the 43.
Yeah, his race will be over.
Of course, to the magic of iRacing, that bumper somehow got magically reattached. So,
Hey, it's those little iRacing gremlins or wizards or whatever we decide to call them. Fairies. It's the fairies?
iRacing fairies, could be fairies,
Could be fairies.
fairies fly. So maybe we'll give it that.
I can't remember, but whatever they. Oh, and we have a blinker. That was
That's
14.
14 of Mike Slagter. Yeah, that's not a good thing to see on the track. So we were just talking about our first caution. This is now our second caution of the night, brought out by incident between the 40 and the 43. I think the 40 was trying to avoid colliding with the 54 of David Watts, and unfortunately had contact. So, 08 of Ryan Pittman also blinking a bit. So about half the field said, yep, let's go get fuel, and the other half said, nope, I'm going to get position.
I like fuel. I like fuel in this scenario
Yep, fair.
because if you do 20 more laps, you're pitting at lap 70 or 65. If you do another 20, you don't have to do another 20. You have to do another 15. Your race is over. So I like fuel.
So just doing some quick math, 8, 10 stayed out, 14 came in. But as we've talked about, that is going to put a lot of the drivers that have run in the top 10 all night in the back of the field.
It will. And that's where we have seen trouble.
Yep.
A lot of trouble.
Not a little trouble, but a
A lot of trouble. Another thing we need to pay attention to also is specifically the tire strategy now, because you have some guys that came and got tires. Garrett Johnston, Cody Sturgill, Chuck Van Scoik. And I know we were only green for about 4 laps, but that could be the difference. That could make the difference in the back end of this stint. And I would want to run this as long as you can, and those tires could give you the flexibility to run a few laps a little bit harder than you need, or than your competitors can. So I like that move. I mean, I'm looking right now. Garrett Johnston, and we've talked about him all race long, but I love that strategy from him. You have Nathan Harper making his way back down with Aaron Jackson, Justin Horton as well. So I'm very curious to see how Garrett is going to do now. And same thing with Sturgill and Van Scoik.
Yeah, that's definitely a bit different than the rest of the field, but it's not a huge advantage. I'm surprised. I think that Chad Jones, when he came down, he's running in 5th. That last time by, he got maybe a splash of gas. So that was at lap 40. So he's one of those drivers just came down for fuel. Same thing was Chris Worrell, just fuel, topped off. But there's all different strategies now. Those folks that came down lap 44 just now, they're ready to go. And now they got new tires, so that puts you lap 65. We'll see. Those guys have one more stop in them.
Yes, they do.
All right, again, thanks for tuning in to the IWM Broadcast Network. If you are watching on one of our streams, please like and follow along so you can stay updated when we are broadcasting something different or new. You'll get notified when we go live, and typically you'll see us on Wednesday nights with our Tech4Troops Cup Series and Thursday nights with our iNASCAR Series, which follows along. They have a full season that follows along with the regular NASCAR schedule, so that will give you an opportunity to see up front and personal 4 days before just what that looks like when they get the track. Although Iowa may be slightly different.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But either way, we're still racing in Iowa tomorrow night in the INRS Series. But we are going back to green here in the Iowa 200, lap 47. And you'll see right there, the outside line, not a great push. So here comes the 06 to the low side. You see that 14 of Mike Slatker there on the high side trying to hold that position.
Oh, almost contact. They held it together. A lot of dicing and slicing back here. Remember, a lot of these guys, the 20 of Johnson, you've got Lilith Peters, Chuck Van Scoik. These guys are all battling to try and work their way back up to the front.
Yeah, this is a little bit hairy. This is a little bit hairy right here. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of this. As we see these cars come out, turn 440s in the wall. Some big moves being made from 3 wide now.
A lot of action here in the back of the field as these guys are trying to work their way back up front. Oh, the 99 went super high there. Oh, 40 is loose, saves it. Of course, the Sammy Harrell's right there with him.
We've seen them get together once tonight already.
Oh, almost again.
Oh, oh man.
Sammy dives low to avoid the 40. He must be saying, what is going on?
He's like, I need to get out of here. They're still not broke. Oh!
Saves it.
Third time's the charm.
I guess. He's like, finally, I got around.
Yes, you know, so sometimes that happens in races. You just get stuck around certain cars the entire night. But either way, Zach Ward up front.
Yeah, that may not be Jeff Nini's favorite track here.
Hey, I understand. It's very. If you don't go to it often, which they don't, it's a tough track to get on.
All right, we're watching the 7 of Zach Ward, who, through the magic of that last restart, he was able to leverage that to get track position, and he's leading lap. Zach is one of our playoff drivers. Zach is out front. He does have the 06 of Chris Worrell on his tail, followed by the 14 of Slagter and Bostek. And there you have it. The 06 works his way around the 7.
Yeah, we felt like this was going to happen.
Well, he's got fresher tires, and by slightly more than a lap. But looking,
Slightly more than a lot.
well, there was that little bit of that last pit stop, that last caution that really kind of jumbled up a lot of these strategies. But Garrett Johnson, who was back, is now all the way back up to 6th. He was one of the drivers who pitted on lap 44, got 4 fresh tires and fuel. And, in the wall, though, that's going to hurt a little bit.
A little wall never hurt anybody. Well, unless you're a race car driver.
I am surprised that Sammy Harrell is still able to go after the unfortunate incident.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Looks like the 07's having some connection problems. Saw him blinking a few moments ago.
That's not what you want if you're on a track like this. You can't blink for too long because you don't know where that driver's going to show back up, you know?
Well, we're riding right now in with the 20 of Garrett Johnson. You can see that he's got a full windscreen full of the 07. So, and as we said earlier, you are seeing them shift in each of these corners. They're downshifting into 4th. Trying to get some drive off.
And it's a good strategy. I like it because it will allow you to do exactly that. Get some drive off the corner, and as long as you don't slide it too much, you can time it just right and get a great run down the backstretch.
Some 3 wide moving going on there. A lot of action here. That's Ledger, Harrell, Bullard, and the 48 of Philip Vandertwijk all battling for a position. Sammy Harrell got super loose.
Yeah, Sammy Harrell got loose and the car got into the wall. Right now, track is still pretty toasty, but as we see it right here, here comes the 7 to the inside of the 06. What's going to happen now? The 06 lost now 2 spots, Rick.
Yeah, Mike Slagter worked his way around as well.
And now we got side by side right there. That's Ty Bostic.
He's falling back.
Yeah, I mean, is he saving? Question mark.
Probably not a bad thought, because he's letting the 20 of Garrett Johnson go.
Yep, Garrett Johnston. We've talked about him.
He does have his teammate there in the 07, so there may be some type of strategy there. You've got the 27 of Jeff Nairn there as well, but he slips in behind his teammate. Probably not a bad idea if they can figure out a way to kind of save some fuel.
Garrett Johnston almost lost it.
Wow.
That was close.
.26 laps to go here as these laps begin to tick away.
07 not giving any room to, well, they lets him go. Lets the 20 on by.
Now another thing that could be at least one pit stop to go. You probably want to stretch it out as long as you can, because if there does happen to be a caution, this is a huge track. And, any green-white checker situation is going to chew up a ton of fuel.
Yeah, I mean, you realistically could make it 18 laps, especially if you're Garrett Johnston, so you pit on lap 162, then you wouldn't have to pit for the rest of the race. If you want to split it up half and half, since you pitted on on lap 44. But some of these other guys are going to have to go 40 laps and go 20 and 20, which I don't know if these guys want to do. Oh, there's the 07 is gone. Now he is back. 07's drifting way high out of turn 2. Had to tighten that car up, or had to get out of the throttle, excuse me.
Now that puts Chris Morrell back into 6th. We'll see what happens here. Let's go back up front with Zach Ward. He's got Mike Slagner behind him, and then Bostic and Garrett Johnston now up to 4th.
One thing I'm very curious about, Rick, is how this playoff is going to make the playoff shake up. We talked about a driver, Zach Ward, up 13 spots. Could he get a win? I mean, it would definitely shake up the playoffs just a little bit, and it would lock him into the championship 4 race at Homestead. So, a win here, you got. I mean, I love setting your entire targets on the first race of round 1, the first race of round 2. If you can win that first race of round 2, Rick, it doesn't matter what you do the next 2 rounds. At all. Like, literally, it doesn't matter. You have to, show up and perform, but because I believe in momentum, but you can set your sights on the last race, which is Homestead, and that's when I would start practicing. Once you get that race 1, don't even practice the other tracks. Just start practicing for that last race. So,
well, and the next two tracks are not gimmies. I mean, you got Martinsville, which is notoriously a handful, and then you've got Charlotte, which is, albeit a favorite track for many drivers, but it's not an easy course to drive.
No, not at all. It's very much a rhythm track. It's very much a track where you have to save your stuff, especially for a long run, and that's what you have to do here, even at Indy. You have to save your stuff, and right now it looks like here comes a little to the inside of Chuck Van Scoik there, and Garrett Johnston now is approaching on. Lapped car stops him in his tracks, or my bad, I thought he gets lapped car. That is the 22 of Ty Bostic, excuse me. 22 of Ty Bostic there, right in front of the 20.
Something's happened to the 40 of Denis. He's looks like he may have had an incident on track.
Oh. Spun around and kept it going in the right direction.
Yep. Although he's got a lot of damage to that 40, that may be the end of the 40 for tonight. It's a long, lonely drive back to pit road.
Very, very lonely. But what's not lonely is this top 10 right now, separated by top 9, 2.9 seconds. About 2.5 seconds, that is. And everybody's right here. And so we're 21 laps away from the end of this race. Who's going to make that pit stop? Who's going to pit early? Do we see some drivers, this sounds wild, but go fuel only? I don't think you could, but, I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. We'll be side by side. You won't miss anything. We'll be right back.
Hi, America. Mark Castro, President of Tech4Troops. I wanted to take a moment to say thank you for making 2023 such an amazing year. We completed our mission, and it feels good to have another successful year behind us. But I want to tell you, this year, 2024, is our 10th anniversary. 10 years of doing this mission, and you have been so supportive of us. So I want to take a moment to say, please continue to support us. We're going to have an event or more every month. Please stay tuned in our calendar. Please stay tuned on our social media. Join us in the celebration of our mission and what we do. And we look forward to seeing you and having your support for our mission of ending veteran homelessness through bridging the technology divide. Look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much.
right, welcome back to the Tech4Troops Cup Series here on the IWM Broadcast Network. We have just got 20 laps left to go. We're approaching that point at which we will see drivers coming in. Here you are, your leader, Zach Ward, now on pit road. I like this move. Also, Ty Bostic also on pit road.
Both those guys hit a lap 39 and around 40, so they're going to split this in half. And I think you're going to see these other drivers come down in about 2 laps, either this time by or next time by. That is going to be the 20 of Garrett Johnston. That is going to be the 23 of Chuck Van Scoik. That's going to be the 01 of Lilith Peters. So you're going to see those drivers down. But drivers that are still out there on that lap 40 strategy: Chris Worrell, James Lowe, Chad Jones, Jeff Naren. So we'll see when those drivers start to make their way down. Garrett Johnston just came over the radio. I believe he is going to be making his pit stop, the final pit stop of the race. Here he comes, and here comes the 06. It's hot. The 06 is really hot. Beats him into pit road. Maybe not. They are side by side. What a race on the pit road. Now the 06 is going to have to... I think actually he'll be fine. He qualified ahead of Garrett.
Also on pit road, you've got James Lowe, Jeff Naren, Chad Jones, and Marco Berube all on pit road.
Well, this is the race right here. Garrett Johnston had to move back a little bit. He is not going to win the race out of pit road.
Nope.
Rick, this is going to be... He's about a half second behind him. Maybe a full second. There goes the 06. There goes the 20. And that did it right there. 06 back to the lead.
Chuck Van Scoik and Lilith Peters now on pit road. Cody Sturgill, pit road. Sammy Harrell, pit road. Luke Bullard, pit road. That puts Ryan Pittman out in front. Balance of the field is in except for a handful of drivers. Pittman, Jackson, Ryan McRoberts, and I think Nathan Harper have not pitted yet. I think Justin Horton as well. All right, so the field is all jumbled up as we are rocking our last pit stop of the race. 17 laps to go. Your current leader is Ryan Pittman in that 08 Ford.
And Rick, once this all cycles through, that 06 is going to have about a second gap to the 20. But right behind him is Mike Slatker, though, who came down pit road on lap 60. So you have a driver like Mike who came down a couple laps early. Could we see him potentially have a little bit warmer tires? But no, not really. But here comes, I believe that's Ryan. Who is that actually?
Nathan Harper on pit road.
Harper.
That's his last pit stop. That rotates those that were in that earlier round to the front. They've got a lap damage race car of Jeff Neeney in front of them as they.
Watch out! Man, that could have been bad.
It could have.
And here comes the 20 right around the 14 of Mike Slatker. That is a pass for position. That is a pass for third. For second. Here comes the 20 back up to the point.
Made it
in
look
second
easy.
place.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now he's got to chase down the 6 of Worrell. Again, you are correct. You win any one of these next few races, you punched your ticket into the playoffs, into the final race.
Yeah, and that's why I like winning here. Just get out of the way. It sounds a lot easier than it seems, but it's tough, especially with the level of competition these drivers are at. It's pretty intense what they'll go through. Now with 15 laps to go here at Indianapolis, Chris Rell in first, Garrett Johnson second, Mike Slatker in third, James Lowe in fourth, Zach Ward in fifth, Chuck Van Scoyk in sixth, Bostic, Peters, Nairn, and Jones round out your top 10.
The board is on pit road. So pretty much looking back through the pit times, everybody took 4 tires with the exception of Sammy Harold. Looks like he took 2. Ryan Pittman only took 2. Aaron Jackson took 2. Those guys respectively are in 12, 13, and 14. Everybody else, top 13, top 11, sorry, all took 4 tire stops. Riding on board with Garrett Johnson as he works to try and take back the lead from the 6 of Chris Worrell. I wish we'd have the ability to bring up laps led as a statistic. We don't get that that data.
You know, it'd be really nice. It'd be really nice to have that data, you know. But again, we are at the mercy of technology. And right now, I do not see any lap leaders. But the only thing that matters is who's going to lead that last lap. And right now, Garrett Johnston wants to be that driver. He is right on the tail end of the 06. Rick, that 20 is fast.
He's been fast all night. He's done a great job of managing his tire wear, his temperature, and has just been a tick faster all night.
All night long, and he's been just absolutely tearing up the back bumper of that 06. And here we go, a little bit out the corner, gets the 06 tight. Here comes the 20, Garrett Johnston. This could be the pass for the win, Rick.
With 12 laps to go, side by side, entering turn 1, and he makes it look easy.
Makes it look like he
little
does
crossover move, though. Oh, super loose. That allows the 06 to take it back from him coming through turn 2.
But watch out for the 20 to come back down the backstretch. Here he goes. He has the run. The 06 doesn't want to give him the inside.
Blocks him.
And, well, that's some bump drafting. And Rick, look who's joined the party. James Lowe. Now, remember, James Lowe, he's not a playoff driver, so he could spoil this.
Yeah, he was in contention, but unfortunately I think he was physically moving, and he was not able to join that last race last week, which bumped him out of the playoffs. But you know, he certainly could, even if you, he's got a blinking issue. You know, even if you are not part of the playoffs, there's still some prize money. So.
For sure. Now, the blinking is kind of worrying me a little bit, though, because he's blinking pretty heavily.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar, that is definitely an indication of a connection issue with that driver's rig and the servers at iRacing. It can be a little disconcerting as a driver, and more so by those around, as you can see from our vantage point.
Yeah, especially, I mean, let's say that 07 gets in front of the 20. That's bad news. That's bad news for the 20 there.
The 7 of Zach Ward trying to work his way around the 14 of Mike Slagter, and may he have pulled it off. And also you've got Chuck Van Scoyk trying to work his way back up. He is currently showing in 6th. Now remember, your goal here, if you aren't going to be up front trying to win this race, is to get as many points as you can, because again, there's only 4 spots and there's only 3 races, so there's always going to be at least one position available that is points driven.
Wow, that 07 drove it way deep into the corner, and that's what I was worried about. He blinked. He drove up into the 20. He blinked in turn 3, and that's going to drop that 20 car back from the leader. Did he blink on my screen, Rick? Or was it
he,
just...
No, he blinked everywhere. But that he definitely has, like, he's back into third. The 20 got back around him. So 9 laps to go. 20 needs to just drive his game. He's been driving it successfully all night. He needs to stay on point and run. He's been fast. Here we go.
Here's the move. Yep, he was like, I'm not going to put myself into that situation again. I want to get around the 06. And there it is. There's the pass for the lead right there with 9 laps to go. Now, is that too soon?
Well, it could be a little soon. This is going to be tight here. The key for him is to avoid getting a little loose like that. You know, that's... Now that's
here comes the 06 now.
Yeah, that 7 could really be a factor here.
He could. Now they're holding tight right there. The 20's going to push up a little bit. 20 backs off. He's going to try to get a better run out of the corner comparatively to the 06. But here comes the 06 again as we see a big block being put on the 23 back there from the 7. But 23 of Van Scoik gets to the inside. Now we have a 5-car battle potentially for the win here. The 06 now back around the 7, or the 20.
A little loose there. You know, if I'm the 20, I think I'm trying to protect that car as much as I can, protect those tires. We're beginning to see a little bit more of a dance here as we're coming down across that start-finish line as drivers are trying to not let that car behind them take advantage of that draft.
Not at all. And that 06 is definitely a little tight now. Here comes the 20 again, right to the back doorstep.
I think that 20 wants to separate himself from the rest of the field, kind of get the 6 all by himself, and then be able to use a little bit of aero and move himself around.
Agreed.
But now we're facing a little bit of lap traffic. That's the 54, I think, of David Watts driving down low.
All right, we got a pass now for 3rd place.
23 of Chuck Van Scoik is now.
He got really tight.
Yep.
He pushed real. We've seen that all night, Rick. The car on the inside line get, bad tight, like very bad.
That allowed the 01 of Lilith Peters to kind of move up.
It did. 6 laps to go here at Indianapolis. Still anybody's race.
Continue to watch this battle. Bit of more of a gap right now between the 06 and the 20. We're going to take one more commercial break, and that will be the end. You will not miss a thing.
Are you looking for a way to safely and securely dispose of your old electronic devices? Why not donate them to Tech4Troops? Tech4Troops is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to bridging the technology gap for Indian veterans and their families. The donation process is quick and easy. Simply go to tech4troops.org and click on the donate link at the top right-hand side of the page. Scroll down to access the Give Back Box link. To create your shipping label, click Add to Cart and complete the checkout process. The shipping label is good for up to 50 pounds. You can recycle most standard shipping boxes to send in your devices. Oh, don't forget the power cords. Give new life to your old technology by responsibly recycling with Tech4Troops. Help save the environment and support a veteran.
All right, welcome back to the IWM Broadcast Network of the Tech4Troops Cup Series. 4 laps to go here at Indianapolis. Battle up front between the 06 of Chris Morrell, the 20 of Garrett Johnson. Pretty good gap now separating these drivers with just 4 laps to go. Do you think, did the 20 kind of peak a bit early?
Yeah, I'm watching his line, and I'm watching how the car is handling out of the corner, and it is not friendly. It is not great. I think he's holding on for dear life right now. I think that car is very tight, very loose off exit. Now, he might be holding back, which isn't a bad idea, but I'm watching his patterns coming out of the corner, and it just seems like that car is just not wanting to turn.
We're riding along with Chris Morales jumping behind him. This is Garrett Johnson. I'm paying particular attention to that little orange stripe on his steering wheel, just seeing just how much he has to counter steer as he comes back out of the corner.
Oh, he followed the 06 up the track. Oh, that was a perfect corner for him to potentially gain a little bit more than he did, but he watched that 06 a little bit too much. Yep, I like this run right here. He's going to gain some time out of the corner. Here it comes. That 06 a little bit high, but here comes now the 20. Cut it down from 0.45 to 0.38 by the corner entry of 3.
Oh, he stayed out of the throttle a little long there.
He's got to get a good run out of the corner here if he wants any chance with 3 to go. And they are all sliding out of the way. 3 laps to go. Gap is now 0.55 seconds. 2 laps to go. Garrett Johnston, he just can't get low, and it's going to push really hard here. Oh, man, almost to the wall.
Yeah, I think right now you are correct. He is barely just hanging on. He'll take second. He'll take the points. He just doesn't have enough to chase down that leader, that 06 of Chris Morrell.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, unless that 20 is saving it for one more go.
That gap
I don't think he is.
Increased a little bit.
All right, 1 lap to go. White flag here at Indianapolis. Can Chris Rowell be the first driver to lock himself into the championship race in Homestead? 20's driving it in really deep. He might hit the wall.
Saved it.
Man, that was close. I don't know if it's going to happen, but what might happen is a pass for third. You see Peters there right behind the 07 of James Lowe. We'll see if there's a pass made. Rick, I might be speaking too soon, but the gap is closed to 0.3 of a second.
Yep, but unfortunately there's just a turn left.
I don't think a turn's going to be enough for the 20 car.
Oh,
07 blinks. 06 was loose, but what's going to happen is 06 is going to get the win at Indianapolis. The 07,
hangs on.
I think he held on for third while Garrett Johnson finishes in P2. You see the 06 doing a SVG style burnout, drifting through the corners. Your winner, Mr. Chris Worrell.
All right, so here's our final. Good race between those two drivers, the 20 of Garrett Johnson and the 06 of Chris Worrell. We'll have that finishing grid to you momentarily as the rest of the drivers cross. We don't get that data until everybody crosses the start-finish line, and with it's like a few drivers who are experiencing some. Here we go. Here we got some results.
All righty. All right, here's your final results for tonight's Indy 200, the Tech4Troops Cup Series race here, first race of the second round. Chris Farrell gets the win with Garrett Johnson in second, James Lowe in third, Lilith Peters in fourth, Zach Ward in fifth, Charles Van Scoyk in sixth, Jeff Nairn in seventh, Ty Bostic in eighth, Mike Slatker in ninth, and Chad Jones rounds out your top 10.
Cody Sturgill finishes in 11th, Sammy Harrell 12th, Ryan Pittman 13th, Aaron Jackson 14th, Philip Vandertwick in 15th, and John Ledger in 16th. Marco Berube finishes in 17th, and then in 18th, Ryan McRoberts. 20th is Nathan Harper. 20th is Justin Horton.
In 21st, you have David Watts. 22nd, Jeff Nani. 23rd, Luke Bullard. 24th is Maurice Burnett. And 25th, Mr. Ryan D. Cook.
All right, we should have driver interviews coming to you momentarily, but John, overall great race. Actually, James Lowe has already made his way into the waiting room. Let's get James Lowe. James, congratulations on your finish.
Hey, appreciate it, Rick.
Notice you may have had your hands full there, technology-wise. We saw a little bit of on-track connection issues.
Yeah, still working out some kinks. Just moved, so new internet service, and it's just those things you got to figure out on the as you go. But for the first race back in a few weeks, I was a little happy with that.
Absolutely, yeah, no, great finish. Indy's is an interesting track. You really have to stay consistent with how you get around this track, and you guys figured it out.
Yeah, I can't stand this place. Be honest with you. So the qualifying was god awful. Had to start way back, and I knew if I could just save a little bit, I could work my way up there, and it all worked out. But I about wrecked a few times out there tonight, just about spinning myself, and yeah, it was a mess. But knocking the rust off, that's all we really wanted to do, and thankfully Chris won, so that's good for him and the championship there, and good for the team.
You got it. All right. Well, again, congratulations on your P3 finish. Any shout-outs tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my Aunt Mary Alice and everybody else that came in to watch. You guys for broadcasting, Chris for winning, Garrett for the good run, Elliot for letting me run with him, and can't wait to watch you back. Tech4Troops.
You got it.
Thanks to them.
All right, that's your third place finisher, James Lowe, and then we'll bring in Mr. Garrett Johnson. Garrett, congratulations on your second place finish.
Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Man, I know that had to be a little bitter there to take P2. You worked so hard up front as well the whole night.
Yeah, like I was talking to the guys after the race, that you get in that little bubble of dirty air about 0.3 to 0.5, and you just can't go anywhere. So I was trying to get the job done before we got to that stage of the tires, but just couldn't make it happen. So just have to be content with second for now and look onward.
Well, no, great finish though. Certainly tonight, there's a lot of strategies being played. I definitely saw that you were, kind of leveraging that longer run to begin with. But how did that last pit strategy work for you?
Well, I think it worked out pretty good, or at least it had a net zero impact. I kind of took a gamble and came down and filled up again, got tires, and figured that way at least I won't have to worry about saving at the end. And it did work by those means. So I can't complain, but I don't think it really mattered, to be honest, because still got second and still probably wound up where I was going to wind up anyway.
Right. No, that's a great to take those points into next week's race, which puts us at Martinsville.
Well, I'll need every point because I'll tell you right now, y'all probably won't be talking to me next week.
Well, maybe we will. You never know. All right. That was a great finish, Garrett. Any shout-outs tonight?
Oh, yeah, just, thank you guys for putting it on. Thanks to everyone that makes the league happen. Super, super fun league to race in every week. And for the most part, it's always really clean. And, even when it's not, it's usually an accident. There's no one in here that I could really complain about. So I, really enjoyed every weekend, and hopefully we can keep on doing it for the future.
You got it. All right, that's your P2 finisher, Garrett Johnson, who put in a great race tonight, and we'll bring in your winner of the race tonight, Mr. Chris Worrell.
Rick Zowza, how you doing, brother?
We're great, Chris. How are you? Congratulations on your win.
I'm good, thank you. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of good close racing there at the end.
Yeah, we saw you and Garrett battling pretty much for the, I'll say it, pretty much for the whole race, you guys were battling tightly up front there, and it came down to really just fractions of a second towards the end.
Yeah, it felt like a chess game. I thought I had the upper hand on Garrett when he went into pit, and I was like, all of a sudden something told me to just stay out, and I stayed out, and I was like, yeah, I faked him out. And then I realized I was right, on the edge of the pit line. And then I started to get worried. And as I was driving, I got to the lead, and I was like, well, daggone, I need to possibly, fall back and save, because, that first run, the leaders went 2 extra laps than me because I was pushing it the whole time. But I knew I could make 18 laps. So I just had to save enough to get to 18 laps. And when I got there, it was game on again. And then I, tried to get my way back up from 5th or 6th, back up to the lead, and kind of hang with Garrett, because I knew he had fresh tires and, and enough fuel to make it to the next pit cycle. So when he went to dive into pit for that last pit stop, like I said, I knew I could go 18 and push it hard. So I figured I almost stayed out. My plan was to stay out, go one more lap, and something told me to go right then. Usually when I do stuff like that, I get speeding penalties and mess it up. So thankfully I didn't do that. And we were able to have a really fun race at the end, me, him, and James.
Well, again, congratulations on your win. Now, of course, next week we got Martinsville. What's your thoughts there?
If we can get some green flag racing in, I think it'll be a lot of fun. I love Martinsville. That's one of James's best tracks. You got to watch out for him there. So it should be fun. Hopefully we can all get some practice in, because everyone knows that's a tough one. Great job to the league tonight. We had a lot of good green flag racing. Hopefully we can pull it off again next week, at a track that you don't see that often at. So
yep,
hopefully we'll be able to put on a good show for you guys next week.
Yeah, there are a couple of tracks that John and I talk about that are not always our favorite ones to broadcast, because we do see a lot of yellow flags, and unfortunately Martinsville tends to fall into that. But with the way that we've seen these races go this last really, John, the last month or so, we've had some great green flag racing.
Yeah, it's been awesome. It was really cool to see, the usual suspects up front that you can race real fast and clean with. I saw Mike up there, Ty, Chuck was up there. I'm sorry if I'm leaving anybody out, but it was great to see all those guys run good tonight. Me and Garrett raced really close there at the end. It was a lot of fun. Out of nowhere, James, I was trying to take it easy, because I could tell, Garrett was taking it easy. That way, if he passed me, I could have a little tire for him to try to pass him back. And out of nowhere comes James. Wasn't even seeing him on the relative, and that was pretty wild. So I think both me and Garrett had to try to pick up the pace or do something different. And after a while, I just had to let the hammer down, or whatever they say in that movie. Drop the hammer on him.
Drop the hammer on him. All right, well, there's your winner, Mr. Chris Worrell. Punches his ticket into the playoff race. And next week, we're off to Martinsville.
We are off to Martinsville, and it's always the great unknown, what that racing is going to produce. But what we do know is, if you win at Martinsville, you lock yourself into the championship, or you just, lock somebody else out because you won twice. You never know what's going to happen there at Martinsville. So exciting race to watch. Make sure to tune into that, and make sure to tune in tomorrow night here on the IWM Broadcast Network for the INRS series. They will be at Iowa Speedway. Not the new Iowa Speedway, but the original paved Iowa Speedway there tomorrow night. So make sure to tune in.
All right, folks. Thanks again for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow night, and we'll for sure see you next week in Martinsville. Good night.